Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 123 of the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I just wanted to say happy 4th of July. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope everybody was celebrating their freedom. And I know that this does not mean freedom for everyone on July 4th. We recognize that. But I do hope that you took time this weekend to have fun with your families, to celebrate, and to be together. And know that there are many people that listen to this from all over the world. But we are here in Alabama, and we had a great time celebrating. I wanted to just remind you to leave us a rating or review of the podcast. We love when you do that. It helps us show up in the podcast platforms and just make sure, that we know whether or not we're doing a good job. Also, I wanted you to just stay connected with us at Empowering Pumps or using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. I love following that and being able to see that y'all are interacting with us, and really helps me know what I should be talking about or who I should invite on the podcast. Okay, so a couple of updates that I wanted to share with you. First, we are going to be having a leadership summit in August, and I wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. Make sure that you are checking out empoweringpumps.com and have signed up for our newsletter there. It's really important that you do that so that you can find out what's going on and what type of knowledge is shared there or what type of summits are coming up. So make a note to register for that leadership summit. We have some amazing speakers that we will get into a little later in July. Also, I know that we had a wonderful week last week at ESA. If you want to, you can still check out that hashtag ESA22. Thank you, Vince, again for going to ESA and taking care of our customers there and seeing what kind of new technologies are out there. So ready to share that with everyone now. And I do hope that you checked out the video series that we do when we are approaching a trade show. Rebecca does a great job of recording videos with our customers. And so make sure that you go to our YouTube channel if you're listening to this online, or audio version. We also have a video version of this on our YouTube channel. So check that out. Check out all the knowledge that is shared there. Speaking of knowledge shared, we will have the conference coming up in Pasadena, Texas. So this is EPIC 22. So if you want to follow along that hashtag, it's EPIC 2022. And what we're doing there is we're bringing in the workforce together with industry. So we're talking about today's workforce and the future workforce. So the students that are there in that Houston, Texas area. We will be at San Jack College in the Center for Energy, Petrochem, and Technology. And so I'm really excited to share that with you. We were covering all of the different industries there, all the different equipment from pumps to valves to motors and drives. Just they have so many different resources in this in San Jack, and I want to share that with you. So take a look, first of all, at empoweringindustry.com. That is the website for EPIC. And it shows and has many different pictures and videos there on the San Jacinto website that you can, dive in and look at these different labs and really think about what your experience could be if you come to EPIC. I know it's going to be epic, like the name says, but it is the code for Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference. And so we're going to talk about everything from equipment to leadership to manufacturing to IoT. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing I wanted to call your attention to is that you could still be a presenter. There's still time when this comes out to let us know if that's something that you want to do. Also, award nominations. Okay, the awards. And so I think the call to papers actually shuts down at June 30th. So we'll just kind of scratch that. But the award nominations for EPIC is still active. And so we're accepting those award nominations for these categories: Engineer of the Year, Operator of the Year, Maintenance and Reliability Professional of the Year, manufacturer's rep or distributor of the year, tradesperson of the year, social media marketer of the year, podcast guest of the year. So if you would like to be a podcast guest, you should join me. Let me know that you want to be in that category. An emerging leader of the year, and then industry advocate. So those are just to name a few. We will let you know if there are any other ones that we should be sending out there. But then, we always do the industry person of the year, which is voted on and from the submissions that we have from Industry Person of the Week every week. And so make sure, again, to check out empoweringpumps.com. More in updates, we have the Empowering Women 22 conference that's going to happen in New Orleans. That's going to be October the 13th. And the early bird registration is open for that. You can follow the hashtag Empowering Women 2022. And the deadlines approaching are going to be for the award nominations. We have so many different awards that we give out each year, and it is wonderful to see our industry coming together and highlighting the women in our industry so that we can have representation, so we can see them as our role models, and that we can show that their careers are out there, that women are doing it, and that our future generation should get on board in some of these areas, and that will indeed make our workforce stronger. Okay, so let's get to the industry interview. This one is so much fun. Eric Lunsford, he is the president of Pye-Barker Engineered Solutions, and he's been working in this organization, we'll say from a kid because he grew up there, but he's been there over 29 years. And Pye-Barker is primarily an industry or industrial supply company, which specializes in compressed air, pumping and blower systems. They have also vacuum systems. And so they're involved in every design aspect of each project from beginning to end. They lay out all of the mechanical systems. They make sure that they are properly installed. And so much there. And I just really think it's amazing that they have over 150 years experience in engineering there in their company as part of their team. And so if you are looking for somebody to, I guess, lean on during this, or that you need some pumps or compressors or systems in your organization or your plant, take a note and reach out to them. Eric has so much just passion for the industry. And so I'll just let you hear from him, and definitely we will connect you with him in the show notes. But without further delay, here's your interview. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm so excited for this interview. I have really been looking forward to it. Eric has been a friend of the industry for a very long time, and most recently, he kind of ran into me at a trade show and put me on notice that we needed to get together again and story. For one, there's a lot of fun stuff in that. We can get to it at the end, Eric. But let's start with who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you so much, Charli, for having me on your podcast. I really do love it. So I'm Eric Lunsford. I am president and CEO of Pye-Barker Engineered Solutions. We are a distributor of pumps, compressors, and blowers, but we also service and we help our clients with engineering projects that they have for those various categories, pumps, blowers, compressors, whatever they're working on. So that's a short.
Is it any industry, or do you have a certain target of the industries you work in?
We are really fortunate. I hate to say any industry because it always sounds like such a cop out. Oh, everybody's my customer. But truly, when you look at our customer base, it cuts a very wide swath across the industry. Now, here in Georgia, food is the biggest industry in Georgia. So obviously we kind of skew towards that, but that's not all we do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, well, I can speak for pumps when we say pumps are everywhere,
Yep,
and sometimes you have to have a pump to make a pump, and there's a lot of commonality in that, right, across
exactly.
the equipments, and so I was interested in that, and I do want to talk a little bit more about what that is,
Mhm.
as far as the work that you do. But I want to start with you, and I found that you've been in the industry for a while, working for the same company. So tell me how you got started at this company.
Sure, sure. Well, uh, I got started. It's a family company, so I got started. I got kind of born into the company. My dad graduated Georgia Tech at six when I in '68. I was oh, I shouldn't have said that. Now everybody's going to know how old I am.
That's exactly right. I tried to warn
Uh,
you.
uh, and then about a year after he graduated, he came to work for Pye-Barker and kind of helped develop their engineered products division. And then in the early '80s, he ended up purchasing the company. I was promoted to VP of Sales in 2014 and to president of the company in 2017 or late 2016, 2017, and then took over as owner in 2018. So I've been around the not just the business but the company for my entire life.
Yes. So you
So
grew up there.
I
I
did,
can see you, your 5-year-old self,
yeah,
running around there and seeing, what could you do? But then, during college, you kind of tried to, go out on your own.
I did.
Your background is psychology.
Yep.
And so, you know, what was that like? Did you just change your mind? Like, how do you get from psychology to pumps?
Well, to tell you the truth, the way I got into psychology was I was following my wife.
Okay. Okay.
I was
The heart will do that to us.
It will. It will. I was floundering around in college. I started dating my wife. She was a psychology major. I figured if I changed my major to psychology, we can take all the same classes. And lo and behold, with the right motivation, I was actually able to get some decent grades in those psychology classes. So we both got our degrees in psychology, and then we graduated college, and she went to work, and I started working on my doctorate degree, and I was on that advanced career path with psychology. I took 6 years to get my 4-year degree, and then went into my doctorate program, and I was I was so tired, so I said, you know what, I need a break. Let me just take a semester, a year. And I told my dad, I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna step away from college this semester and see what I want to see. What am I gonna do? What's going on in my life now?" Young married man, and he said, "You know what? I got some stuff at the office that you could really help with. If you why don't you come to the office Monday morning?" And that was October of '94, and I'm still here,
Well,
coming up on 30 years later.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, I bet your dad was just sitting there like waiting, like, please come help me in this business because, as an entrepreneur or business owner or just even the president in any company, you need help, right? And so
Yes,
you're always
yes.
looking for good people. And for it to be, staying in the family and
Mm,
helping, I know that he was really happy about that.
it
So,
was.
yeah, so you started there, and kind of made, got your way up, and now you're the president. You're running things over there.
It's
Um,
great.
yeah. So, and ownership within the
Yeah.
business, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, it means a little more once you have kind of that title under you, and
Hmm.
you're responsible for leading. And
Yes.
so I think that the psychology has definitely got to play a part in how you lead now.
I wish I had stayed on top of it when I started, but when I first came to work here, I'm not a mechanical guy, and I'm definitely not a math guy,
Mhm.
and so when I came here, I was all about trying to figure out pump speeds and viscosities and vacuum pressure and CFM and then the parts that go in to make up the equipment. I was like, oh, this is so foreign to me. So I just threw out all the psychology stuff I knew. And about 10 years in, I was thinking, man, if I had applied some of what I knew, I could be a better leader. I could be a better colleague. I could communicate with not just my clients that I'm talking to on the phone, but I could communicate with my co-workers better. And so now today I'm like a reading maniac trying to better myself, become a better leader, and become better at helping my team be better. And so I'm trying to get
Yeah.
all that psychology back in play.
Well, I think it's there. It doesn't go away, and just you noticing that you needed to kind of revisit some of that, I think
Mm,
is definitely key to leadership. And you do have to know the business, and you have to a little bit prove to yourself that you know it. So
yep.
in the beginning, I'm sure that was part of it. But now,
Oh.
we like to say in the leadership 2.0 world where you care about humans and like how we're getting better and can
Mm,
work better. You have had a challenging time, and so just hearing that you are kind of diving in and kind of re-looking at some things, is that because of this last couple years being so challenging, or I guess I'd like to know, what has it been like? I hear stories about supply chain and everything, but
mm.
from your perspective, tell us, what have you learned? What do you feel like you need as far as a industrial supply company? What is that?
Well, for us, we're fortunate, like I said, that not only do we supply the equipment, but we service the equipment, we install equipment. Um, as far as the supply chain goes, I try and unpack a lot of what you were asking. It's hard. The supply chain has definitely been a challenge for us. Getting parts in. Most everything is built here, but not all the parts come from here to be built here. So it only takes one O-ring that somehow gets made in China that has to get on a boat and come, and all of a sudden you've got a $50,000 piece of equipment that you're waiting on, and so it is definitely been, we have done everything we can to help our clients. We ramped up our inventory. We stay on top of our suppliers. What's the status? What are we doing? What are you guys doing to better this? As far as the last few years, we were fortunate when the pandemic hit. We had already started focusing on our service group. It was really, I hate to admit this, our service group was really a weak spot for our company prior to 2018, 2019. And we knew that. And so one of the things that when I took over in 2017 as president, I said, we got to do something here. This needs to be shored up. So we had already started focusing on that. And fortunately, when COVID hit, it really put us in a position to be able to help. Plants were, they shut down for a small amount of time, and then all of a sudden they realized, oh, people still want stuff. We still got to keep going, and so then now they're up operating, and but their team is getting COVID, and people aren't able to come in, and so our service team, man, they just took the ball and ran with it, and they were running all over Georgia, all over Florida, taking care of customers, and stepping up when the customers' own maintenance force was at less than full capacity. Our team was able to step in, so it really uh, benefited us, and it helped me realize how important that service was. I knew it was a weak spot. I knew before I took over that it was an area we should be doing more, and so the last couple of years have just shown me that, yep, that was definitely a spot that needed work, and that has an ROI that we can be happy with.
Yeah, and even sometimes we know, like, okay, we need to invest in our people and we need to invest in our ability to help the customer, but it seems like it can kind of get lost sometimes because you're in the whirlwind of work and
Yep.
tasks, right?
Yep.
And so this is just confirmation. I think you're not alone in many of the things that you said, right? That's waiting on that part, no matter where your source was.
Mm.
Uh, it it just was such a challenge. And then you had to be able to talk to the customer to let them know exactly what was happening. So there was this transparency as well. And so that builds that trust and really, those relationships. So thankfully, which I think a lot of us were like, oh, I'm so glad I was doing this
Yeah.
before the pandemic. And so, I think that when we look at how we got through that, there were either, okay, we really messed up on some things, or wow, we were doing, this right. Does any like a particular project or person or company that you worked with, or I don't even know if you can tell me that stuff, but something that just stands out when you're like, okay, we got that right.
uh, I I'm gonna take it back a little bit. When 2019, I had heard about this competitor of ours in the state of Georgia who had an interest in possibly selling, and his company was they were a compressor company, so they sold air compressors and they serviced. It's really known for service. So we talked and we talked and we talked and we talked, and we got to we, we we got to February of 2020. Now you know what's coming in February of
Right.
2020. I didn't know then. I know now. And I'm about to sign on this loan to buy this company right at a time when the whole world is talking about, oh, everybody's shutting down. If you're not essential, you can't be out on the roads. And, I just said, I told my team, I said, we could put this off and nobody would say we did anything wrong. I said, but our customers are going to need service.
Oh,
They're going to need help. And again, his company, that was a major source of their revenue, was their service revenue. And I said, we brought on a couple of service technicians. I said, if we do this, I said, it's going to be tight, but our customers going to need help. And so we decided, okay, let's go ahead and let's go through with this deal. And so on March 29th, I think,
wow.
signed the documents to the bank and sent, and we're doing it all remotely because nobody wants to be in the same room,
Mhm.
because of what's going on. So, it's not a customer project, but it was definitely, all right, we're all in. We are
That's
all
right.
in. And it
Well, I think,
off
go ahead.
because it's exactly what happened. Our customers, they needed that service help. They needed us to be able to come in and help them keep their plants running and get things moving when things started to really explode.
So let's take this back to you, because you joined the company, right? And okay, you're running the ship, and you're just like, okay, I know we need service,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna look for people that can support us in this area, and then you bring in the air compressor side, which is wonderful because I mean, this is just one other element that we don't talk about that much when we're talking about the fluid side
Yeah.
of water. But there's they marry so perfectly, and then to have that in the midst of the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
where you had to say, okay, are we going to risk this or not? Do we really stand for service or not?
Yep.
And make that decision. Wow. I mean, I really am floored right now, because I can feel that moment, how big that was in March, to be able to shift like that.
I was worried. I was worried. I mean, we had a service crew, and we were doing serve, but we needed more, and we needed to be better, and this was a quick way to up our game, but it was not an easy decision. It did not come without.
Doubt, is that the best word? Like doubting ourselves along the way. But I love the story, I really do. I think that so many people had to make hard, tough decisions during that time, and
Yeah.
but keeping the customer in knowing, keeping them in mind and knowing that they will need you. I mean,
Mm.
that is what it's all about. That is, your whole business plan can, come back to that. So wonderful, that it's so wonderful. I'm glad I asked that question.
Well, and it for me, it aligns with our mission statement, which our mission statement, our purpose is, our mission is to make sure that our customers' air and fluid systems, processes, and equipment is operating to the best efficiency possible. And without the team that I have on the road today, man, we'd be dropping the ball all over the place.
Well, I think that we all felt that shift back from shutdown to full speed ahead, and it was tough. I mean, I think it is still today. You can just feel this momentum going forward, and
Mm-hmm.
can we stay um, active enough without wearing ourselves completely out, right?
Yep. Yep.
And that takes people. And so you're again back to psychology and leadership, and keeping everybody's mindset, that growth mindset. How are you, helping them along as your team? How are you influencing them or leading them to kind of keep that growth mindset?
Ooh, if you want to talk about my weaknesses, talk about my talk about my leadership. I got to do better.
Is it that is so typical? All my leaders out there, are you just not like, I've said that before. Let me, so me and Eric talked about this right before we jumped on. We rarely give ourselves the credit we need as what we're doing and what we have done. So I'll just say I see your leadership and being, taking this step to even be on the podcast is
Thank you.
it's a spot a first step, if you will, in that believing in the leadership. You will find that this will touch a lot of people and kind of come back to you. I do want to tell everybody. So Eric came up to us at TPS, okay, and he goes, "I love the podcast," and me and Bethany were like, whoa, wow. Like, cause I wasn't at the booth and he told Bethany and she's telling me, I'm like, who was it? Where, where is this person? And so we figured out that it was him and that he loved the podcast. And I was like, well, you need to be on the podcast. And so, he's like, well, I like listening to the podcast. I don't know about being on, but that is that network, that community, which is the industry that we're living and breathing in every day. This is what it's like.
Yeah.
We get it. We understand how important it is to be there for the customer and that the equipment is critical and the work that our people do is vital to life. And so, I think we could go on and on and on.
Oh yeah.
And so in Georgia, it's food. Okay.
Yep.
Is there another, like it's Florida? I mean, water stands out for me with Florida, but is there any other kind of typical industry for Florida?
I really don't know probably the biggest industry in Florida like I do Georgia. We've not been down there as long as we've been here. But they do a lot of potash in Florida. And then there's a lot of just straight up manufacturing. We've got this. I'm not going to tell you the name. Okay. We got this one manufacturer that just it makes something for boats. I'll just put it like that. Oh my gosh, their place is like spot on. It's so clean, and it's a great place. I wish that was my office. They got cool stuff in their office and their floors, and they got organized the way everything's laid out. I mean, I'm just like, man, this place is nice.
Yeah. Well, I can totally see that. And I can see the, boating industry down there being significant. Well, so I always ask this, and sure. I'm curious from you, what advice would you give somebody if they were deciding, whether or not to get in this industry?
Oh, that's easy. I would say go. One of the things that intrigued me early on when I was young and didn't know anything, was taking phone calls, was the breadth of challenges that came across the phone. Somebody calls in, they need a gasket, they need a seal for their whatever it is. That's not as exciting. But when someone, hey, I've got this problem, and here's what we do at my facility, and how can and that's really, and it wasn't the same thing every day. It was this guy's pumping peanut butter, and this guy's pumping epoxy, and this guy's got a small shop that needs air, and this guy's got a large shop that needs air. This guy's trying to move flour down it's just crazy, the diversity of industries. So and that makes it exciting, because you don't
Yeah.
know what that next call is going to be. It could be anything coming in. So I think I love being in the manufacturing industry, even though we're not a manufacturer. To be able to support that, to be able to help, uh, or to be a part of all those little things that, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my office, and we've got a couple of chairs, and the manufacturer of those chairs is a customer. So, how cool is that? When I
You
go
can
to the
see it everywhere, right? You can
when I
see
go
it.
to the grocery store, I'm like, customer, 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 not a customer. Don't get that one. They don't buy from us. Um, so having that kind of, I don't want to say impact, but knowing that we're a part of helping to make that happen around the states in those industries is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the word impact. I think we definitely do that.
Yeah.
We make a difference every day, and if you think about it like this, that you've got your company, and then all of the people that work for you and with you, they are making a difference and an
Yep.
impact. So that's the easier way to say it from a leader's perspective, is look at my team versus look at me leading. But I
Yes.
just want to say I see you leading. Um,
Thank you.
you for leading and being on the podcast. We have so much to talk about, and I definitely still need to come see the facility.
Yes, you
That
do.
is on the list.
All
Uh,
right.
and so we have also, great relationships in Georgia, Florida, of course, but Georgia, and really seeing how we can influence and affect those areas, because you're so close to me. I'm in
Mhm.
Alabama, and it's easy to get over there. It's just whether or not you make that the spot to go. And
Yeah,
so just keep that in mind, a little
I
teaser
will. I
there. And
will. I will.
if anybody wants to, get in touch with you, how's best to do that?
I think the best is my LinkedIn, just Eric Lunsford. You can find me at Pye-Barker Engineered Solutions.
Okay, and I real quickly, I got to do a little rapid fire with you.
Uh-oh.
Uh, Favorite book? What is your favorite book?
Mm, It's the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, I like it. I like
Sorry.
it. I
Sorry.
love it.
It's
Okay.
honestly quick. That's what got me started reading. I
Yes.
hated to read, and then in I think it was junior
You know,
high.
yeah.
Junior high, they said, "Okay, you got to read this book," and I read this book, and I was like, "Where has this been all my life?" And now I read like a book a week, and I have a library at home. If you could see the shelves behind me, they're covered in books. I love to read.
Yeah, my
That's what started it.
sons, that's what I tell them. Like, you've got to find something that you're interested in, and that will, put you on the right track. And favorite song?
Um,
I want to know that favorite song that came up first in his mind that he's not telling us.
if I if so
Second.
if I jump to that one, it would be "Can't Touch This" by MC Hammer, which was the number one song on the day that I got married.
Oh, I love it. I
I
love it.
was I was dancing to that in my room while I was getting ready.
See, these are so great. I
No,
can
it's
just
not.
yep, I can totally see this. Okay, last thing. If you could, I guess best. You gave us your advice earlier, but if what is the best advice you have ever received?
Hmm. Can I give you two? All right. So the first one is a scripture verse, and now that I want to say it, I can't remember the reference.
We have time.
But basically, it's as for you, do not quit, for you will surely be rewarded. Just a reminder to persevere. And the second one is something that I heard a long time ago. You can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't make both.
That's good.
So when when I look at something that I have succeeded or failed at or am struggling with, and I try to think of why I'm not, I remember that quote and I go, well, don't make excuses. You can't make excuses and make I don't look at it as just money. I look at it as success. You can't be successful if you're making excuses for why you can't be successful. You just got to do it. So
I love it.
Probably be my two.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I loved when you said just go earlier. Like, let's go. Let's get these things done.
Let's do it.
And I appreciate you, Eric. Thanks for making this happen.
Not a problem.
I'd love to have you on again. And
I would love to be on again.
Yeah, can't wait to share this with the world. Eric, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll see you at Epic.
Yes, Epic. I can't wait. I can't wait.
So I throw that plug out there for you.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you next time, but look for Epic later. Somewhere else. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. I'll see you at Epic too.
All right. Thanks, Charlie. Bye-bye.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Do us a favor, give us a rating and review. Subscribe to our channel so that it shows up every Monday. And until next time, mention us. Give us you can reach us through social media at Empowering Pumps or using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. So until next week, which we'll be back with a new episode. So until then, be empowering. So we'll be back with a new episode next Monday. So until then, be empowering. So we'll be back next week with a new episode. So until then, be empowering. I'm wondering how many times I can do this. Okay, last time. And we'll be back next week with a new episode. So until then, be empowering. So until then, be empowering. It's interesting how many times I can say this and wonder, this sounded so different when I was looking at Bethany. Anyway, we'll be back next week with a new episode. So until then, be empowering, everybody. Okay, so this is one more thing that I forget. So we'll be back next week with a new episode. So until then, be empowering. Definitely much more fun to dance when there's somebody on the screen with you. I think I said that. I'll say it again because it's true. But I'll dance for you. Bye.